In this video, we will discuss the third type of trigonometric integral. So we already discussed type 1 and type 2 in the previous video. In type 1, in the integram, we have sine times cosine, but both the sine and the cosine raised to some power. In type 2, we have tangent times secant, both the tangent and the secant raised to some power. But in the third type, there is no more exponent. So if you take a look at the three cases, you have the product of sine times cosine, or sine times sine, or cosine times cosine. So there is no more exponent right there. So when you see type 3, so for each case, there is a corresponding product to some identity. You study those identity back in trigonometry. So for case 1 in the integrand, you have sine times cosine. So for the product to some identity, you have 1 for sine A times cosine B. For case 2, you have sine times sine. So in the corresponding product to some identity, you have sine times sine. For case 3, you have cosine times cosine. So if you look at the product to some identity, there is one identity for cosine times cosine. So in the first integral I gave you, I have an integral of sine of ax times cosine of phi x dx. So this one is sine times cosine. So that matches to case 1. So we have find out what a and b's are. So a is equals to ax, b is equals to phi x. So the first step is we will just plug it in to the product to some identity. So that is equal to integral 1/2, and then we draw a square bracket, sine of ax minus phi x plus sine of ax plus phi x, close the square bracket, dx, and then you perform the minus and the plus. So that is 1/2 sine of 3x plus sine of 13x, and then dx. And then now we are ready to integrate. So the 1/2, we keep the 1/2 in there. So the integral of sine of 3x, the integral of sine is equals to negative cosine. I left some space for myself because there is a 1/3 in there. Why there is a 1/3? Because when you take the derivative of cosine 3x, that is equals to negative sine, right? So the negative becomes positive. And then what about the 3? There is a linear function 3x inside the cosine function. By chain rule, you also need to take the derivative of 3x, which is equals to 3. That's why you need to prepare a 1/3 in front of the cosine to get rid of the 3. Okay, so just simply take the derivative and you can easily go back to sine of 3x. So same thing for the sine of 13x. So this is minus 1/13. And then cosine of 13x, close the square bracket, and then now you can do the plus c, right? And then the last step, you distribute the 1/2, so you have negative 1/6 cosine of 3x, and then minus 1/26 cosine of 13x, and then plus c. So this is the final answer. All right, so let's take a look at the second one. So the second one, we have a integral sine times sine. So sine of 2x times sine of 6x. So that matches to case 2 on top. So case 2, I gave you a sine times sine. So there is a corresponding identity, product to some identity. So let's do that down below. So let me change that to the color. So this is the integral sine of 2x times sine of 6x dx. Let's move this up. So first, we know that a is equals to 2x, and then b is equals to 6x, and then we plug it into the product to some identity. So we have integral 1/2 square bracket cosine a minus b, 2x minus 6x, and then minus cosine a plus b, 2x plus 6x, and then dx. So we have 1/2 and then integral cosine of negative 4x, so cosine of negative 4x, and then minus cosine of ax dx. Now we are ready to integrate. So what is the integral of cosine? The integral of cosine is equals to sine, right? So we keep the 1/2 in there. The integral of cosine is sine of negative 4x. So we have to prepare a negative 1/4 in front of the sine, because when you take the derivative and check your work, by chain rule, the derivative of sine is equals to cosine, and you also need to take the derivative of the linear function negative 4x, so which is equals to negative 4. So the negative 4 will cancel with the negative 1/4. So that's why you have to prepare an extra 1/4 in front of the sine. And then the derivative of cosine is equals to sine, so that is sine of ax, and then you have to prepare an extra 1/8 in front of the sine. And then now the job is pretty much done, so let's distribute. We have negative 1/8 sine of negative 4x, and then minus 1/16 sine of ax plus c. Are we done? The answer is, if you are doing this on paper, I do accept this answer. However, there are a couple things you have to know regarding the sine function. So let me do that in red. So the sine is an odd function. So sine is odd and cosine is even. You study this back in trigonometry. So what is odd function mean? Odd function mean if you replace the x with a negative x, you get a negative times the function. Odd function is if you replace the x with a negative x, you still get the function itself. So in here, we have a negative 4x. So we have sine of negative 4x that is equals to negative sine of 4x. So if you are doing this homework, if you are doing some works online, the system might not accept negative 4x. I do, but that is if you are doing this on paper and you hand the paper to me in person, I am fine with the negative 4x. But when you do homework online, the system might not accept negative 4x. So just be careful with that. So let me do one more step. So when you take the negative sign out, then you have a positive 1/8 sine of 4x, and then minus 1/16 sine of ax plus c. So this is the final answer. Alright, so that is the end of this problem and also the end of this video. If you think my instruction is helpful, let me know in the comment below. Like the video, share the video for me, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Appreciate your help and support. I will see you all in the next video. Signing off for now.